we're back with another opening video. We'll see what is in this particular package. This came from Houston, Texas, in just a little bit ago in January. So while I think I have a general idea on what this could be, we will have to wait and see. A little bit of preparatory work on that. Let's see if we got this here. We got plenty of cardboard in there, so that's always a good thing to help with the protection. Let's see what we have. Okay, this is a playoff program from, I think it's the early 80s, maybe 1981. Yep, 1981. I do remember what this is now. It is the Houston Rockets against the San Antonio Spurs. The Rockets would wind up winning this series. Give me a break here while the bag that this gentleman put this in was very snug. I will be replacing that bag. But at least it does have a bag. There's a little bit of a bend at the bottom. The problem there is that it didn't have a backing board, and it was shoved in there a little bit. So there's a little bit of a cosmetic problem, but over time that'll flatten back out. So this is the Spurs and the Rockets from 1981, and right off the bat, what catches you? Cigarette ads. Don't see a lot of those anymore. Moosehead beer, much more prevalent. Okay, this will be the Rockets. So there'll be a lot of Rockets in their arena, the Summit, etc. Rockets owner George Maloof, whose children own for the longest time the Sacramento Kings. General manager Ray Patterson. The lovely 1981 Toyota. Boy, that I've talked on some of the other that I'm not really a car guy, but ugly is ugly. Rockets head coach Dale Harris, who for years has been around the NBA, coached the Bucks for a while. Brown and Root, the people of the 90s, also known for the Brown brothers being the people that were behind former President Lyndon Johnson's rise to the top. Not many sports shows coexisting with Lyndon Johnson as a topic. The Rocket staff. There's one of the Maloof brothers. Gavin and Joe owned the Kings for years before they ran out of money. The Rockets 1980-81 schedule. This program was for the year that the Rockets finished with a losing record, but a series of upsets in the Western Conference playoffs would eventually pit the Rockets against the then Kansas City Kings, who also had a losing record for the Western Conference title. The Rockets managed to win that and would lose to Boston in 6 games. The NBA rookie crop gets good grades. Michael Brooks, Mike Woodson, Joe Barry Carroll, and Kyle Macy. There's some more rookies from the Daryl Griffith and Mike Jaminski. Another cigarette ad with, this one is Camel. NBA broadcasters, quite a team. John McLaughlin, former Milwaukee Buck. Keith Erickson with Lakers and Suns. Dick Van Arsdale with the Suns. John Havlicek and Little Sport. They're always ready for a game. I actually got one of these when I was like 7 or 8 and put it in my bedroom and played with it for years. The only problem with this one, these were the original ones of these. And down at the bottom, where you see this part, the upper part was made of plastic, and the bottom part was made of cardboard. So over time, it did wear out. But boy, I loved playing with that thing. Played in my bedroom, playing basketball for hours when I was like 6 or 7. Bob Lanier, recently, as of this writing, traded from the Pistons to the Bucks. My new Panasonic home video recorder speeds up a slow ball, slows down a fastball, stops the ball, and even finds the ball. Reggie Jackson in the Panasonic video player. Look at the cassette there. I always liked the older models. That I liked the top loader. I don't know why they got away from that, but I always liked the top loader. And it doesn't say Omnivision. There we go. I was looking for that, whether this was VHS or Betamax. That one, my alarm, switch this off. So Dr. J sitting on top of a backboard with his Converse All-Stars. The Houston Rockets college draft, their first-round draft pick that year was John Stroud out of Mississippi. You could kind of look at the Rockets drafts and see how they weren't very successful after a certain point. I mean, Elvin Hayes, in 1969 was Bobby Bingo Smith, who the Rockets had the San Diego Rockets then had for 1 year, and they didn't protect him in the expansion draft, and he was taken by the Cleveland Cavaliers. But after Rudy Tomjanovich in 1970, they didn't have a success until John Lucas in 1976. Bobby Jones was a successful player, but he played in the ABA, signed with the ABA for the Denver Nuggets. I don't even remember who a couple of these guys are. I don't know who Buster Matheny is, or Lee Johnson. I do remember a little bit of John Stroud. And then there was the Rockets' entire draft. Back in the days when they had 7 and 8 rounds in the NBA draft, 1980 looks pretty unsuccessful. Paul Mokeski in 1979, second round, was a journeyman, as was Alan Lovell in the 5th round. Billy Ray Bates had a 1 or 2 years with the Portland Trail Blazers. Robert Reed was a steal in the 2nd round in 1977. He played for them for a long time. There's the Rockets' previous season. The powerful career choice of Houston Lighting and Power. And there's some shots of the various team logos and in the league and where you could write them. And here's the Rockets. Houston's winners with the Houston Rockets and KRLY. Although I don't know why an armadillo is shooting a basketball. Here's some players: Rudy Tomjanovich, Tom Henderson, who would wind up. He spent some time with the Washington Bullets and won a championship there. 2 Hall of Famers, Moses Malone and Calvin Murphy. There's the aforementioned Robert Reed and former ABA star Billy Paltz. There's the Rockets' history of the playoffs up to this point. Okay, what's that page? Mike Dunleavy Sr. as a player, better known as a coach. I always think of him with Mike Dunleavy Jr. when he was at Duke, and Dick Vitale always screaming his name, Mike Dunleavy, baby, and all that BS that came with it. There's a scorecard with the Spurs against the Rockets. You could tell the Spurs were not quite the team that was in the ABA. They were kind of a little past their prime because other than George Gervin and a injured James Silas, this is a pretty pedestrian Spurs team. There's the aforementioned first-round pick John Stroud. Bill Willoughby, one of the first two high schoolers to be taken in the draft, along with Darryl Dawkins. It was taken by Philadelphia. Major Jones, one of the Jones brothers of Charles and Caldwell Jones. Alan Level. Another beautiful car from Southwest Donson. For a 1970s car, it's not that bad. Rick Barry joins the NBA on CBS. The tough oil, get the edge. A lot of ads on this one for some reason. The all-time NBA team to that point. This is the 35th anniversary. It looks like it's the all-time 5 team. Bob Pettit, George Mikan, Oscar Robertson, John Havlicek, okay, it was an 11-player team. Julius Erving, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, George Mikan, Oscar Robertson, and Jerry West. Look for the NBA symbol on your home backboard. Then we discuss some more of the more cigarette. A lot of cigarette ads in this. Magic Johnson, the previous year's playoff MVP. Some guy can't tell the difference in his shaving and his razors. How to score a basketball game. Not quite as easy, or well known, I should say, as the baseball scoring system. You never tasted anything like this. There's a couple guys pretending to be referees at your local Foot Locker. The NBA All-Star Team. Julius Erving, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the late Paul Westphal, one of my all-time favorites, and George the Iceman Gervin wearing a very lovely shirt. And that's a picture of the seating chart for the Rockets Arena at the time. The Summit. The Summit still stands, but is no longer an arena. It was sold to the Reverend Joel Osteen and then retrofitted and now hosts his mega church in Houston. Old Milwaukee Light. Rockets selling the NBA Register and NBA Guide, the all-time Rocket leaders. And selling the Voigt basketball, which was you used to see the Voigt a lot on playgrounds. And then on the back is the Zenith television, I should say, which is with its Space Command 3500 remote control. Okay, well, since this is going to be I'm going to have to do some editing work on this, we'll stay away from the standby program for the purposes of this. The Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs in the 1981 Western Conference playoffs. So until next time, we'll see you then.